a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was an American professional boxer, activist, and philanthropist. He is widely regarded as one of the most significant and celebrated sports figures of the 20th century. From early in his career, Ali was known as an inspiring, controversial, and polarizing figure both inside and outside of the ring. He was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, and began training as an amateur boxer when he was 12 years old. At age 18, he won a gold medal in the light heavyweight division at the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome, then turned professional later that year, before converting to Islam after 1961. At age 22, in 1964, he won the World Heavyweight Championship from Sonny Liston in a major upset. He then changed his name from Cassius Clay, which he called his slave name, to Muhammad Ali. He set an example of racial pride for African Americans and a resistance to white domination during the Civil Rights Movement. In 1966, 2 years after winning the heavyweight title, Ali further antagonized the white establishment by refusing to be drafted into the U.S. military, citing his religious beliefs and opposition to American involvement in the Vietnam War. He was eventually arrested, found guilty of draft evasion charges, and stripped of his boxing titles. He successfully appealed the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court, which overturned his conviction in 1971, by which time he had not fought for nearly 4 years and thereby lost a period of peak performance as an athlete. Ali's actions as a conscientious objector to the war made him an icon for the larger counterculture generation. Ali was one of the leading heavyweight boxers of the 20th century, and remains the only 3-time lineal champion of that division. His records of beating 21 boxers for the world heavyweight title, as well as winning 14 unified title bouts, were unbeaten for 35 years. Ali is the only boxer to be named the Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year 6 times. He has been ranked the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. He was also ranked as the greatest athlete of the 20th century by Sports Illustrated, the Sports Personality of the Century by the BBC, and the third greatest athlete of the 20th century by ESPN Sports Century. Nicknamed the Greatest, he was involved in several historic boxing matches. Notable among these were the Liston fights, the Fight of the Century, Super Fight 2, and the Thriller in Manila, against his rival Joe Frazier, and the Rumble in the Jungle against George Foreman. At a time when most fighters let their managers do the talking, Ali thrived in and indeed craved the spotlight, where he was often provocative and outlandish. He was known for trash talking, and often freestyled with rhyme schemes and spoken word poetry, both for his trash talking in boxing and as political poetry for his activism, anticipating elements of rap and hip-hop music. As a musician, Ali recorded 2 spoken word albums and a rhythm and blues song, receiving 2 Grammy nominations. As an actor, he performed in several films and a Broadway musical. Ali wrote 2 autobiographies, one during and one after his boxing career. As a Muslim, Ali was initially affiliated with Elijah Muhammad's Nation of Islam and advocated their black separatist ideology. He later disavowed the Noi, adhering to Sunni Islam, practicing Sufism, and supporting racial integration, like his former mentor Malcolm X. After retiring from boxing in 1981, at age 39, Ali focused on religion and charity. In 1984, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's syndrome, which some reports attribute to boxing-related injuries, though both Ali and his physician disputed the claim. As his condition worsened, Ali made limited public appearances, and was cared for by his family until his death on June 3, 2016, in Scottsdale, Arizona. Early life and amateur career. Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. was born on January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky. He had a sister and 4 brothers. He was named for his father, Cassius Marcellus Clay Sr., who himself was named in honor of the 19th-century Republican politician and staunch abolitionist, Cassius Marcellus Clay, also from the state of Kentucky. Clay's father's paternal grandparents were John Clay and Sally Ann Clay. Clay's sister Eva claimed that Sally was a native of Madagascar. He was a descendant of slaves of the antebellum South, and was predominantly of African descent, with smaller amounts of Irish, and English heritage. DNA testing performed in 2018 showed that, through his paternal grandmother, Ali was a descendant of the heroic former slave Archer Alexander, who had been chosen from the building crew as the model of a freed man for the Emancipation Memorial, and was the subject of abolitionist William Greenleaf Eliot's book, The Story of Archer Alexander, From Slavery to Freedom. Like Ali, Alexander fought for his freedom. His father was a sign and billboard painter, and his mother, Odessa O'Grady Clay, was a domestic helper. Although Cassius Sr. was a Methodist, he allowed Odessa to bring up both Cassius Jr. and his younger brother, Rudy Clay, as Baptists. Cassius Jr. attended Central High School in Louisville. He was dyslexic, which led to difficulties in reading and writing, at school and for much of his life. Ali grew up amid racial segregation. His mother recalled one occasion when he was denied a drink of water at a store. They wouldn't give him one because of his color. That really affected him. He was also affected by the 1955 murder of Emmett Till, which led to young Clay and a friend taking out their frustration by vandalizing a local rail yard. Ali was first directed toward boxing by Louisville police officer and boxing coach Joey Martin, who encountered the 12-year-old fuming over a thief's having taken his bicycle. He told the officer he was going to whop the thief. The officer told Clay he had better learn how to box first. Initially, Clay did not take up Martin's offer, but after seeing amateur boxers on a local television boxing program called Tomorrow's Champions, Clay was interested in the prospect of fighting. He then began to work with trainer Fred Stoner, whom he credits with giving him the real training, eventually molding my style, my stamina and my system. For the last 4 years of Clay's amateur career he was trained by boxing cutman Chuck Bodak. Clay made his amateur boxing debut in 1954 against local amateur boxer Ronnie O'Keefe. He won by split decision. He went on to win 6 Kentucky Golden Gloves titles, 2 National Golden Gloves titles, an Amateur Athletic Union national title, and the light heavyweight gold medal in the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome. Clay's amateur record was 100 wins with 5 losses. Ali said in his 1975 autobiography that shortly after his return from the Rome Olympics, he threw his gold medal into the Ohio River after he and a friend were refused service at a whites-only restaurant and fought with a white gang. The story was later disputed, and several of Ali's friends, including Bundini Brown and photographer Howard Bingham, denied it. Brown told Sports Illustrated writer Mark Cram, "Honkies sure bought into that one." Thomas Hauser's biography of Ali stated that Ali was refused service at the diner, but that he lost his medal a year after he won it. Ali received a replacement medal at a basketball intermission during the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, where he lit the torch to start the games. Early career. Clay made his professional debut on October 29, 1960, winning a 6-round decision over Tony Hunsaker. From then until the end of 1963, Clay amassed a record of 19-0 with 15 wins by knockout. He defeated several boxers including Tony Espity, Jim Robinson, Donnie Fleeman, Alonzo Johnson, George Logan, Willie Bismanoff, Lamar Clark, Doug Jones, and Henry Cooper. Clay also beat his former trainer and veteran boxer Archie Moore in a 1962 match. These early fights were not without trials. Clay was knocked down by both Sonny Banks and Cooper. In the Cooper fight, Clay was floored by a left hook at the end of round 4 and was saved by the bell, going on to win in the predicted 5th round due to Cooper's severely cut eye. The fight with Doug Jones on March 13, 1963 was Clay's toughest fight during this stretch. The number 2 and 3 heavyweight contenders respectively, Clay and Jones fought on Jones's home turf at New York's Madison Square Garden. Jones staggered Clay in the first round, and the unanimous decision for Clay was greeted by boos and a rain of debris thrown into the ring. Watching on closed-circuit TV, heavyweight champ Sonny Liston quipped that if he fought Clay he might get locked up for murder. The fight was later named Fight of the Year by the Ring magazine. In each of these fights, Clay vocally belittled his opponents and vaunted his abilities. He called Jones an ugly little man, and Cooper a bum. He said was embarrassed to get in the ring with Alex Mitf, and claimed that Madison Square Garden was too small for me. His provocative and outlandish behavior in the ring was inspired by professional wrestler, Gorgeous George, Wagner. Ali stated in a 1969 interview with the Associated Press Hubert Meisel that he met with Gorgeous George in Las Vegas in 1961 and that the wrestler inspired him to use wrestling jargon when he did interviews. In 1960, Clay left Moore's camp, partially due to Clay's refusal to do chores such as washing dishes and sweeping. To replace Moore, Clay hired Angelo Dundee to be his trainer. Clay had met Dundee in February 1957 during Clay's amateur career. Around this time, Clay sought longtime idol Sugar Ray Robinson to be his manager, but was rebuffed. Fight against Patterson. Ali defended his title against former heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson on November 22, 1965. Before the match, Ali mocked Patterson, who was widely known to call him by his former name Cassius Clay, as in Uncle Tom, calling him the Rabbit. Although Ali clearly had the better of Patterson, who appeared injured during the fight, the match lasted 12 rounds before being called on a technical knockout. Patterson later said he had strained his sacroiliac. Ali was criticized in the sports media for appearing to have toyed with Patterson during the fight. Patterson biographer W.K. Stratton claims that the conflict between Ali and Patterson was not genuine, but was staged to increase ticket sales and the closed-circuit viewing audience, with both men complicit in the theatrics. Stratton also cites an interview by Howard Cosell in which Ali explained that rather than toying with Patterson, he refrained from knocking him out after it became apparent Patterson was injured. Patterson himself later said that he'd never been hit by punches as soft as Alice. Stratton states that Ali arranged the second fight with the financially struggling Patterson to help the former champion earn enough money to pay a debt to the IRS. Main bout. After the Patterson fight, Ali founded his own promotion company, Main Bout. The company mainly handled A-list boxing promotions and pay-per-view closed-circuit television broadcasts. The company's stockholders were mainly fellow Nation of Islam members, along with several others, including Bob Arum, Ali, and then WBA heavyweight champion boxer Ernie Terrell had agreed to meet for a bout in Chicago on March 29, 1966. But in February Ali was reclassified by the Louisville Draft Board as 1A from 1Y, and he indicated that he would refuse to serve, commenting to the press, "I ain't got nothing against no Viet Cong. No Viet Cong never called me nigger." Amidst the media and public outcry over Ali's stance, the Illinois Athletic Commission refused to sanction the fight, citing technicalities. Instead, Ali traveled to Canada and Europe and won championship bouts against George Chuvalo, Henry Cooper, Brian London, and Carl Mieldenberger. Ali returned to the United States to fight Cleveland Williams in the Houston Astrodome on November 14, 1966. The bout drew a record-breaking indoor crowd of 35,460 people. Williams had once been considered among the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division, but in 1964 he had been shot at point-blank range by a Texas policeman, resulting in the loss of one kidney and 10 feet of his small intestine. Ali dominated Williams, winning a third-round technical knockout in what some consider the finest performance of his career. Ali fought Terrell in Houston on February 6, 1967. Terrell, who was unbeaten in 5 years and had defeated many of the boxers Ali had faced, was billed as Ali's toughest opponent since Liston. He was big, strong and had a 3-inch reach advantage over Ali. During the lead-up to the bout, Terrell repeatedly called Ali Clay, much to Ali's annoyance. The two almost came to blows over the name issue in a pre-fight interview with Howard Cosell. Ali seemed intent on humiliating Terrell. "I want to torture him," he said. "A clean knockout is too good for him." The fight was close until the 7th round, when Ali bloodied Terrell and almost knocked him out. In the 8th round, Ali taunted Terrell, hitting him with jabs and shouting between punches, "What's my name, Uncle Tom? What's my name?" Ali won a unanimous 15-round decision. Terrell claimed that early in the fight Ali deliberately thumped him in the eye, forcing him to fight half-blind, and then, in a clinch, rubbed the wounded eye against the ropes. Because of Ali's apparent intent to prolong the fight to inflict maximum punishment, critics described the bout as one of the ugliest boxing fights. Tex Mowley later wrote, "It was a wonderful demonstration of boxing skill and a barbarous display of cruelty." Ali denied the accusations of cruelty, but, for A-list critics, the fight provided more evidence of his arrogance. After Ali's title defense against Zora Folley on March 22, he was stripped of his title due to his refusal to be drafted to Army service. His boxing license was also suspended by the state of New York. He was convicted of draft evasion on June 20 and sentenced to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. He paid a bond and remained free while the verdict was being appealed. Exile and comeback. In March 1966, Ali refused to be inducted into the armed forces. He was systematically denied a boxing license in every state and stripped of his passport. As a result, he did not fight from March 1967 to October 1970, from ages 25 to almost 29. As his case worked its way through the appeals process before his conviction was overturned in 1971. During this time of inactivity, as opposition to the Vietnam War began to grow and Ali's stance gained sympathy, he spoke at colleges across the nation, criticizing the Vietnam War and advocating African American pride and racial justice. The Super Fight. While banned from sanctioned bouts, Ali settled a $1 million lawsuit against radio producer Murray Winner by accepting $10,000 to appear in a privately staged fantasy fight against retired champion Rocky Marciano. In 1969, the boxers were filmed sparring for about 75 one-minute rounds. They acted out several different endings. A computer program purportedly determined the winner, based on data about the fighters. Edited versions of the bout were shown in movie theaters in 1970. In the US version, Ali lost in a simulated 13th round knockout, but in the European version Marciano lost due to cuts, also simulated. Ali suggested that prejudice determined his defeat in the US version. He was reported to jokingly say, "That computer was made in Alabama." Return to prize fighting. On August 11, 1970, with his case still in appeal, Ali was granted a license to box by the City of Atlanta Athletic Commission, thanks to State Senator Leroy R. Johnson. Ali's first return bout was against Jerry Quarry on October 26, resulting in a win after 3 rounds after Quarry was cut. A month earlier, a victory in federal court forced the New York State Boxing Commission to reinstate Ali's license. He fought Oscar Bonavena at Madison Square Garden in December, an uninspired performance that ended in a dramatic technical knockout of Bonavena in the 15th round. The win left Ali as a top contender against heavyweight champion Joe Frazier. First fight against Joe Frazier. Ali and Frazier's first fight, held at the Garden on March 8, 1971, was nicknamed the "Fight of the Century," due to the tremendous excitement surrounding a bout between two undefeated fighters, each with a legitimate claim as heavyweight champions. Veteran boxing writer John Condon called it, "the greatest event I've ever worked on in my life." The bout was broadcast to 35 foreign countries. Promoters granted 760 press passes, adding to the atmosphere with a considerable pre-fight theatrics and name-calling. Ali portrayed Frazier as a dumb tool of the white establishment. "Frazier is too ugly to be champ," Ali said. "Frazier is too dumb to be champ." Ali also frequently called Frazier an Uncle Tom. Dave Wolf, who worked in Frazier's camp, recalled that Ali was saying the only people rooting for Joe Frazier are white people in suits, Alabama sheriffs, and members of the Ku Klux Klan. "I'm fighting for the little man in the ghetto." Joe was sitting there, smashing his fist into the palm of his hand, saying, "What the fuck does he know about the ghetto?" Ali began training at a farm near Reading, Pennsylvania, in 1971 and, finding the country setting to his liking, sought to develop a real training camp in the countryside. He found a 5-acre site on a Pennsylvania country road in the village of Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. On this site, Ali carved out what was to become his training camp, where he trained for all his fights from 1972 to the end of his career in 1981. The Monday night fight lived up to its billing. In a preview of their 2 other fights, a crouching, bobbing and weaving Frazier constantly pressured Ali, getting hit regularly by Ali jabs and combinations, but relentlessly attacking and scoring repeatedly, especially to Ali's body. The fight was even in the early rounds, but Ali was taking more punishment than ever in his career. On several occasions in the early rounds he played to the crowd and shook his head no after he was hit. In the later rounds, in what was the first appearance of the rope-a-dope strategy, Ali leaned against the ropes and absorbed punishment from Fraser, hoping to tire him. In the 11th round, Fraser connected with a left hook that wobbled Ali, but, because it appeared that Ali might be clowning as he staggered backwards across the ring, Fraser hesitated to press his advantage, fearing an Ali counter-attack. In the final round, Fraser knocked Ali down with a vicious left hook, which referee Arthur Mercanti said was as hard as a man can be hit. Ali was back on his feet in 3 seconds. Nevertheless, Ali lost by unanimous decision, his first professional defeat. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?